Hey grade 7s, trying something new today. Going to do kind of an online lesson for you while I chat with the grade 6s. We've been talking, okay, about circles and the circumference, specifically the circumference of a circle, which is what this section of the unit is all about. Okay, so if I have a circle, I'll just draw a little circle here. Got these kind of cool. So I've got over here. I've got a circle. Okay, and now I've got this circle, and I know we talked about in an earlier lesson, like how can we find the center of the circle? So we'd say if we draw a line from one side at this line, and we go and we try to find where the longest part is by swinging it over. So I'm gonna, and it's not an exact science here, but I'm gonna say right about there. It looks like that's the center. So there's a diameter. Okay, now to find the actual center of the circle, okay, I need to do another line. So I go over and I'm trying to find the longest part of the line. Okay, it looks, okay, and there we go. So now we can see, now this gives us the center of the circle. Okay, so I've got this in the center. And if I go anywhere to the outside of the line, this is going to be the radius, okay, the distance from the center to the outside of the circle. If I want to do the diameter, I go through this, now I can just go right through the center to the other side, and it of course is going to be twice as much as the radius. So we talked about the circumference of a circle being, oops, let's get rid of this, sorry. Okay, we talked about the circumference of the circle divided by the diameter of the circle equal to approximately 3.14. Okay, and we called that number pi. It's a special number, and it's a decimal that never repeats and never terminates, and it can't be written as a fraction. So in the book it talks about this is, for that reason they call it an irrational number. Okay, so if we want to find out just the circumference, okay, we have our circumference. There's two different formulas that are really the same. Circumference equals pi times the diameter. Okay, so that is one way to do it. The other way is that you'll see as well. So circumference equals 2 pi r. Now that's the 2 because the radius, it takes 2 of the radius to make one diameter. But these are the two formulas to get the center of the circumference, sorry, of your circle. So once we know the radius or diameter of a circle, we can use one of the formulas above to find the circumference of the circle. So, for example, the face of a loonie has a radius of 1.4 centimeters. So 1.4 centimeters, okay, is the radius, okay, which means 2.8 centimeters is the diameter. Okay, so that after we do this, you're going to want to choose which one you want to be. So if I'm going to choose circumference equals pi times diameter, then I know that is, I'm going to say just 3.14 multiplied by, we know the diameter is 2.8 centimeters, okay, 2.8, okay. So when we multiply this out, we get 8.792. Okay, and so then to kind of check this, we talked in the book about pi is 3.14 and it goes on, but it's about 3. Okay, so when we say 3 times 2.8, okay, is that a reasonable answer? And yeah, when we do 3 times 2.8, we get 8.4, and this is a little more, so we know what it is. So yes, this is definitely a reasonable answer. Okay, the other way to do it would be to say, well, I'm really going to just estimate this is about 3. Okay, 2.8, that's about 3. I estimate it to be about 9, and I've rounded up here, down here, so that seems to be a reasonable answer. Okay, so that's how you can find the circumference with one of these two formulas. Anyway, so now we're going to work on this same problem. How can we do find the diameter if we know the circumference? We know the circumference, but we don't know the diameter. Okay, and so I'm just going to refresh the page here actually. So I'm going to go edit. Here. So now we got a new fresh page. So now we know we've got our diameter. So we've got pi. Okay, we knew pi. Okay, we knew that the circumference is. Okay, sorry. This is going to go. So we know that circumference equals pi times the diameter. Okay. Now we want to figure out the diameter, and like we did in class yesterday. Okay, anytime we want to get something, what it is, we'll find out what it is we want to isolate. Okay, isolate the d. So even though it's an irrational number, we can still divide by this. Okay, so we divide that side by pi. Okay, and then if we divide one side by pi, we got to divide the other side by pi. Okay, and now here you can see these cross each other out. So circumference divided by pi equals the diameter. So the diameter equals circumference divided by pi. Okay? And the circumference equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r. And these two are the same. Sometimes it's just easier, right? If you are given the radius, you can use this one. If you're giving the diameter, you can use this one. Okay? Okay, so now we know those formulas, and I'm going to just give ourselves a new page here. We're going to look at the example. Okay, example on bottom of page 135 of your textbook. Okay, and it says an above ground circular swimming pool, so it's a circle, has a circumference of 12 meters. Calculate the diameter and radius of the pool. Give the answers to 2 decimal places. Estimate to check the answers are reasonable. So we're trying to find, we know the circumference, we're trying to find the diameter. So we think back, okay, what was our formula? I'm going to give you a second here before I go. What was the formula for diameter? So diameter equals, okay, see if we can remember, okay. You can pause it if you need, pause this video if you need more time. So diameter equals circumference divided by pi. Okay? So pi is constant, so we always can tell, we always know pi. Okay? And we don't know this, but we do know this. So now we got to figure out, okay? So the diameter equals, so the circumference they said in the problem is 12. So we're going to substitute 12 for the circumference. Okay, divided by pi, and so we're just going to say 3.14. Okay, and if you you can use your calculators. Okay, 12 divided by 3.14 equals 3.82. Hello, sorry, I made a little mistake that you didn't see because I cut it out, but you can see here, just kind of starting again, we had our diameter equals circumference divided by pi. which was 12 meters divided by 3.14. One mistake I made here, and I actually did it earlier too, is I forgot to include the units, which is ironic since we just talked about that yesterday with our math test, how important the units are. So we have 12, circumference was 12 meters, so, and then divided by pi, which is always 3.14 equals 3.82. So this is, right here, is the diameter. But we're not finished because the question asked us to find the diameter and the radius, and also to make an estimate and see if they are reasonable. So I'm going to say, well, 3.82 meters. Well, we know that it's their circumference was 12, and if we round pi to 3, we know the diameter equals circumference here divided by pi. That equals 4. Okay, so 3.82 is pretty close to 4, so we know that's a reasonable answer. Okay, but now we have 3.82 meters for the diameter, but what is the radius? So, excuse me. Okay, so if this is the diameter right here, okay, we know the radius is going to be half of that. So if we divide 3 decimal, so say the radius equals 3.82 divided by 2, okay, and just see 3.82 divided by 2 equals 1.91, okay, and to put to 2 decimal places. Okay, so there's our radius, 1.91, and so are, of course, meters. Okay, 3.82 meters is our diameter. So now I'm going to clear this page again, and we're going to go on to edit, clear. Okay, and look at what we're going to do for homework. So we got page 136, 137, and I think we can do all the questions number 1 to 9. Okay, but let's do number 1 together, just to give us a sense. So we got number 1. Calculate the circumference of each circle. Give the answers to 2 decimal places. Estimate to check the answers are reasonable. Okay, so now let's see here. We got, so let's give ourselves, I love this little circle tool we got here. So click on the circle, okay, and I go, there's my circle. So I got a circle, and now it's telling me that there is a diameter of 10 centimeters, because you can see in the book it goes all the way across, so 10 centimeters. So if I go from here and I go and I get my diameter, okay, that looks like there. This is 10, oh, let's get rid of that. 10 centimeters. So that's the diameter is 10 centimeters. Now we're trying to find the circumference. So we know that circumference equals pi times the diameter. Okay? So in this one, circumference equals 3.14 times, well, now what's the diameter? So the diameter, just be careful, is all the way across. So it was 10 centimeters times 10. Now it says here to give the answers to 2 decimal places. So one mistake that I've made here is when I multiply this, it's not going to be to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it again and say, I'm going to extend pi to 3.142. Okay? And then we're going to multiply it by 10, because we're multiplying here. We got pi, up here, pi, times the diameter, and the diameter is 10. So we have the circumference equal Okay, times 10 will be 31.42. And then we have to remember, okay, it is the units we're working with are centimeters. You can see up here we got centimeters. So really important that we get there. So the circumference is 31.42 centimeters. Now they're going to they ask us also, estimate to check the answers are reasonable. Well, okay, so we go back to our formula. Circumference equals pi times the diameter. So if we estimate, to make it easy, the pi about 3 and the diameter is 10, should be about 30 centimeters. And our answer is 31.42, so certainly in the ballpark. I think that's a good estimate. So, so just a reminder, homework, okay, up here, page 136, 137, number 1 to 9. You guys can work on that for the rest of the period. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. Thanks, you guys. And apologize for some starts and stops, but first time to try this, so hopefully it worked for you. All right. Thanks.